focusing on our high school program at NMMI. My name is Jasmine Small, and I'm the Assistant Director of Admissions here for Recruitment at NMMI. Our live session tonight will feature NMMI students and alumni who will share about their experiences at NMMI. If you have questions about life at NMMI and how to apply, please ask them on social media using hashtag NMMIFuture, and we will do our best to answer your questions. So let's start with introductions. Casey, let's begin with you. Can you share your year, your rank, and where you're from?
So this is my first year. I'm Casey Day. I'm a cadet recruit, and I'm from Arizona. Tanner.
Hi, my name is Tanner Carroll. I'm from here in Roswell, New Mexico. I'm a corporal in the Corps of Cadets, and it's my second year here as a sophomore.
Hi, my name is Tang Tishapan. I am from Thailand. I am a junior. This is my first year here, and I'm a cadet recruit.
Hi, I'm Luke Johnson. I'm a sergeant major in the Corps of Cadets. I'm originally from Guam, raised in Hawaii for 10 years, and I currently live in Albuquerque. After NMMI, I plan on coming back after basic and AIT and commissioning as a second lieutenant in the Army.
Hi, I'm Jet Murphy, and I recently graduated from New Mexico Military Institute in the spring of 2015. I currently attend the University of New Mexico, and I graduated as the Command Sergeant Major of the Corps.
So let's start with asking guys, why did you decide to come to NMMI?
I decided I wanted to go because I've always wanted to go to an Ivy League college, and I knew that this would help me a lot. Tanner.
Tanner.
So growing up here in Roswell, New Mexico, most of the public schools aren't the best, and NMMI is by far the best education I could have made available for myself. So that's why I decided to come to NMMI.
For me, I see better opportunities coming to study in the United States, and at NMMI, I believe that it's really challenging, and it's also to teach me a lot of stuff here. The academic is excellent, and that's why I'm here.
Well, for me, coming to New Mexico Military Institute meant being independent from my family. It's a great start for leadership opportunities, being able to develop myself as a person, and it's a great start to being in the military, getting the basic fundamentals of what it's like being a private in the military. I mean, being attentive to detail, being independent, responsible, and how to be a leader.
The reason I chose to attend NMMI, I'm originally from Roswell, New Mexico. NMMI had by far the strongest academic program, and some of the leadership skills that I learned there will benefit me for the rest of my life and have already benefited me during my college education, my first year.
So most of you aren't too far away from home, but Tang, you certainly are. What do you think the hardest part is about adjusting to NMMI since you are quite a bit far away?
Okay, so first of all, I would admit that being in NMMI is really hard because it's a military school. You have all kinds of military routines, which is not what I'm used to. But by time, I learned to adjust from it, and I learned a lot of stuff like being on time, time management, discipline, managing my life, and all that. It's a really good opportunity for me to be here, and I know it's hard sometimes, but it's worth at the end.
So what are you going to do over the holiday break since you're far from home?
For now, this is my first year, and I only have my Thanksgiving break. So for my Thanksgiving break, it's a short time. My family is here, so I go back to their house, and then we hang out, go to other states, and have some fun. But for Christmas break, it's kind of like a 3 weeks break. I'm going back to Thailand and see my family.
Oh, that's awesome. So how did your parents handle you being away from home?
My mom lives here, so I go off post and see her every weekend. But for my dad and all my family back in Thailand, I try to find time and Skype them, contact them through social medias, or make a call with them. So I actually contact them like twice or once a week. Yeah.
So what would the rest of you describe as a typical day at NMMI?
A typical day would be waking up at 5 in the morning, going to morning formation, going to breakfast. After going to breakfast, cleaning our room so it's prepared the way the school wants it to be, doing homework or sleeping, and then going to all of your classes. In the middle of that, you have lunch formation and then lunch. Then you go to the rest of your classes, and you have after-school activities. After school activities, you have dinner formation, and after dinner formation, of course, dinner. And there's a thing called NSH, which is night study hall, which is from 7 to 9:30, which cadets are supposed to be doing homework or academic activities. And then at 10 o'clock, it's nights out, so cadets are supposed to be sleeping. But if you have homework, sometimes cadets do that.
I know as a senior, it's we have a lot of responsibilities, especially if you're a senior leader in the Corps. I know for myself, a typical day usually consists of a meeting at least once a day, and on average, about every week, I have about 5 hours worth of meetings going on. And as a senior too, we have less homework to do. I mean, if you start off as a freshman year, your workload definitely decreases unless you're trying to take like college classes, more advanced classes like that. And so your day is usually packed full of things. And I mean, myself, I don't really have time to contact my parents all the time. So that definitely teaches me how to be independent. So I mean, that's just from a senior's perspective.
So I see a lot of cadets do a lot of growing while they're at NMMI. What life lessons would you say NMMI has taught you all? Maybe we'll
I'll go ahead and okay. So I'll go ahead and jump in there. Some of the life lessons that I've learned are definitely leadership's the biggest thing. Just leadership is integrated into everything that you do at New Mexico Military Institute. Along with this, you also learn, you build a strong academic program. You learn skills like integrity in your coursework and outside your coursework. But being in college, you know, I've stepped into different leadership positions here, and just some of the skills that you learn at New Mexico Military Institute will benefit you for the rest of your life because everything has a purpose over there.
Jack, can you give us some examples of how it's helped you at your school right now?
Sure. I'm a new member of fraternity, and I recently got elected as vice president. So right off the bat, as a freshman, I took a leadership position. Just being the command sergeant major my last year, I learned different skills, how to talk to people, how to communicate, how to delegate, and you know, you have to learn how to be a follower before you're a leader. So when you come in as a freshman, or no matter what your grade is or your class as it's referred to, you're a follower first, and then you learn how to be a leader through that.
For me, as a foreign student, I know it's a little bit hard to be away from home, and I've seen a lot of different cultures, and I have to speak English, like that's not my native language. But I have learned a lot from being here. I learned to live by my own and manage my stuff, and also learning to adjust from the environment, which is different from my country and what I'm used to. It kind of makes me stronger by times because there are a lot of hard times here, but I always get through it. And since it's a military school, it teaches me leadership, and it also teaches me to be independent. So yeah.
A quick question. One of our folks on the Twitter named James, he actually wanted to find out, what about sports at NMMI? Can anybody touch base on that?
Yeah, definitely. I'm a Colt football player. We recently finished our season. It's actually a lot easier to make a varsity team here at NMMI than it is at a public school. So, for example, 6A football team in Albuquerque, New Mexico, you have your freshman team, you have your JV team, you have your varsity team. It's a lot more difficult to be a varsity player there as opposed to here. I know my sophomore year, it was my first time playing football, and I started off as a JV running back, and then my junior year I moved on to varsity, and I was the starting defensive lineman, and my senior year I was the starting defensive lineman, and I made first team all district for our division, and that's 4A. So it is a lot easier to come in with no experience, play a sport, and be a varsity player. I can't really speak for any of the other sports, but definitely for football and baseball.
For girls, there's volleyball, there's cheerleading. That's what I'm involved in. I know there's.
So all the co-ed sports here in NMMI would include like the track team, the cross country team, tennis. Pretty much every sport here at NMMI is co-ed with the exception of football.
And how does it work within your guys' schedules?
So it's a lot more difficult for new cadets to handle two sports at once because of the new transition that they're going through. Definitely, when you start your junior year and your senior year as a new cadet, it gets more intense because you're coming in with some of the requirements that you're supposed to have. Well, you're coming in without it, basically. So our math and our English are totally different from what a public school has to do. And that's what also makes the transition as a junior and senior much more difficult, especially when you're playing sports. Sports-wise, we have football, basketball, baseball, cross-country, track, tennis, swimming for both males and females, with the exception of football, which is only for males.
So I had another question. A lot of students ask this, but what if I don't ever want to go into the military?
NMMI isn't, it doesn't force, we don't force you to go into the military. It's just ran as a military, it's just structured as a military, in a military style. Now they have the option, well, you have the option of going into ROTC, which is our junior college program, or you could be in the junior, or what's mandatory actually, you have to be in the JRTC unit here because, I mean, that's just how we do it. Through the JRTC, you're learning life skills, and that is supposed to prepare you for the outside world. You're not required to do any kinds of military service, but we provide that opportunity for you to join the National Guard, the military, any branch of the military, and give you the basic skills to actually do well in the military should you choose that route. But it is a requirement.
I have
Just kind of jumping off the point that Luke just made. I also wasn't interested in going into the military, but the skills I learned there definitely helped me transition towards going to a D1 university. I currently attend the University of New Mexico, and especially academically, I feel I'm really prepared for the type of coursework that we have here. I have the discipline to like sit down at night and study all the time and do all my homework on a regular basis. And along with this, just like the social skills that you learn at NMMI help you for college, the business world, your professional life, and any other type of endeavor that you're going to set out to do.
So we had another question. How military is it as far as the lifestyle here at the school?
It's very military. We structure our daily life out of the Army regulation. The way our leadership structure is operated, it is operated at a regulation level for the Army. We deal with and work with actual retired veterans. Our high schoolers could be working with a general, right? Like last year, the Commandant Cadets was a general, and we would be working with him. High schoolers could be put into senior positions, operating and running mass formations. Right now, I work with the entire Corps of Cadets, which is around 900 people. So it is very military. The way we make our bed is military. The way we clean our room is military. The way we march is military. Everything's military. The way we cut our hair, the way we shave our face, the way we make our uniform, it's all military.
So is there music programs?
Is there what?
Are there music programs?
There are music programs. Does anyone else have any?
there's there's an entire troupe called HQ where they all play instruments. They also offer choir. I know a couple cadets in jazz band. Tanner, do you know anything else?
So we have a choir program, a jazz band, and a concert band here. Our choir program is divided into both a concert choir and a chapel choir. These are all classes that you can take 4 credits, matter of fact. So not only do we have music clubs that you could take, you could learn like literally any instrument after school, or you could join the classes and actually get credit for those. Not all of those are during the day. Some of them meet like Sunday night and Tuesday nights. They're still for credit.
What other activities are there, you guys, besides sports and music?
Well, there are some academic clubs that you can join in, like the chemistry club and the science Olympiad, which I just attended, and you can get a good opportunities out of it. Like you can get scholarships if you win the competition at the state or the regions, and also we have a lot of outside activity like ropes course, ski club, and scuba diving, which is really cool. You get to go out and do activities.
So I just wanted to take a moment real quick and just remind everybody that don't forget to ask questions tonight by posting on social media using hashtag NMMIFuture. So back to our cadets, I know that there's also a lot of questions about military school, the lifestyle that we have. It's not perfect environment because it is military structure, but what other activities do you guys do? How do you feel? Has it made you move forward? Do you feel like you're confident? Just explain a little bit about that.
I'll start off here. Definitely, you become more confident as you're put into situations where you are required to lead someone, especially if they're older than you. I know when I was a sophomore, I was a squad leader for junior college cadets, and it was a little bit intimidating, but after the first 2 weeks and proper training, you develop that confidence to confidently lead people with a steady mind, confidence in what you're doing, and it's actually a great experience for anyone who is timid, shy, anything like that, who isn't very confident in themselves. You'll definitely learn how to develop that here.
Being in here really motivates you. Like during my rat week, it's really hard for me because I got my phone taken and I need to get to the activities of the military. It's really hard, but at the same time, you also enjoy it. And when you look it back, you're proud of yourself. Like, wow, I did it. And also, it really motivates you to keep up with your work. And also, it makes you set up your goals more and more. And it's awesome.
So, Jeff,
from my perspective, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, go ahead, and then I'll cut it. Sorry.
Okay, just from my perspective, being alumni now, I definitely wouldn't trade my experience for anything else. Being able to take on those leadership positions, I had the same situation as Luke. I was a sophomore leading junior college cadets, and you definitely learn that respect goes a long way in those types of leadership positions. And some of the values, like I was saying earlier, they definitely carry on for life past NMMI. So I completely agree with that point.
I wanted to add on to that too. Also, while you're leading, you also learn how to, again, talk to people and learn how to read people and adjust yourself to handle a situation according to that person's personality. So you definitely learn how to be more social, and it's a very good life skill.
So can you guys tell me about a proud moment that you've had at NMMI?
So I've been working at the ropes course here at NMMI for about 6 months now, and on my very first job, after the group was fixing to leave, someone came up to me and just told me that seeing how the cadets interacted and seeing the level of respect that they had for each other really helped them understand why people would come to a school like this. And that helped them understand why people acted the way they did.
Jet, since you're an alum, what did you do to mentally and physically prepare to come to NMMI? And then how has it helped you now? Do you have any proud moments?
Wow, yeah. Looking back on that, I remember coming in as a freshman, and that summer I kind of conditioned myself to do a lot of the physical training before that. So I mean, it's definitely if you don't do that before, it's okay. Like NMMI is set up in a way that makes you ready for that. But just looking back on it, like I remember when before I was going to graduate, it was kind of bittersweet because I was the battalion commander my senior year for JRTC. And I remember looking back on all the hard work that myself and my staff did during that last march by, and just being proud of it. And as your cadet there, definitely take all the moments in, because they're never going to happen again like that, and you're not going to be able to trade it for anything else. So some of the things I did with my friends, who I still keep in touch with, I'm just reminded every day of all the hard work and how proud I was to have achieved everything I did.
Luke, didn't you have a pretty proud moment here towards the end of the football season?
Yeah, towards the end of the football season, looking back, the improvements that I made from my sophomore year to my senior year, I definitely had to work hard to get where I was as a defensive lineman and to make that first team all district 2 years in a row. To see myself improve from my junior year as a defensive lineman, and now I'm the leading defensive lineman in sacks for the whole state in 4A class. And I'm number 4 in tackles, but number 1 as a senior in tackles for defensive linemen. So I definitely see that improvement in myself, and that makes me really proud. And to see how far we came as a team from coming up from 2A 2 years ago to 4A now, and seeing that we can actually compete with schools like Portales, St. Mike's, Ruidoso, Hope Christian, Hatch Valley in the same class. And like looking back to my sophomore year again, we were in 2A, and we were barely making it by and coming into the playoffs. And then when we jumped to 4A, we were right there. We were first round of the playoffs that we lost. It's still an achievement for us because we were making that jump, and that's definitely a proud moment in my football career.
So my next question is for the ladies. What's it like to be a female student here at the school?
Well, since NMMI has very few female cadets, and all the work that we have to do, it's kind of like really challenging for female to come here, because you need to wake up extra early and prepare yourself. And also it's kind of like, it's a military style, so it's kind of hard for in the training matters and all that, but at the end it's fine.
It's really difficult having to adjust to not being females. Or okay, so we have 3 floors where we live, and we live on the top floor. All females do. And for Rat Week or Recruit at Training Week, we can't wear our makeup until homecoming, which is your 40-day here. You have to spend a lot of extra time on yourself, I guess. If you want to put on makeup, you have to wake up earlier. You have to braid your hair unless you want to cut it to the length where it doesn't touch your collar. It's different, but anyone can do it.
So I know one of the questions I get from others is, why would someone pick a military school? Did you get in trouble? Do you guys ever get that question, and what do you say?
Yes, we do get in trouble, but I mean,
Well, I mean, I didn't get in trouble, and like I wasn't sent here, but I get asked that a lot. Or when my family brings me up in a conversation, it's all the time like, "But what did she do? Like, she okay?" So it's weird having that, but I mean,
I think
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because. Oh, go ahead, Terrence. My bad.
well, there are a lot of, I mean, military school teach you discipline, I mean, it doesn't have to be that you get in trouble when you got sent here for discipline. It's just because that military school teach you to be a stronger person, and at NMMI, you you got like you got to change yourself and prepare yourself more. You definitely get more mature, and also the academics is excellent.
Yeah. So I didn't necessarily pick this school because it was military, but because of the education, and I knew how much it would build me mentally and physically.
Chat, were you going to say something too?
Yeah, it seems like everybody I talk to about when I say I went to a military school, they usually ask, "Oh, did you get in trouble for something?" It seems like people have like that misperceived view of military school as being a punishment, but it's actually the opposite for NMMI because people that want to be there and want to do well there succeed, and they have every opportunity to do so. So while it's definitely not a punishment. It's a resource so that you can become a better person and succeed in the rest of your life.
Well, I just kind of want to take a moment just to talk a little bit about the admissions process. So for those of you who haven't already submitted an application online, what you need to do is go online to www.nmmi.edu, and then you'll see the Apply Now option. You'll click on the high school application, and then you'll fill out for your incoming fall 2016 year. Once an application is submitted online, then we'll send you a checklist with the required paperwork that needs to be filled out and submitted. The steps are pretty simple. You follow the checklist. There is a math placement exam, and you would come here to our school, or we'll proctor it for you with your math teacher at your area high school. But for the most part, we do an interview. Then it's mom and dad sending copies of birth certificate, getting a physical form turned in. It's just like a general sports physical, but we make it pretty easy for you to understand what you need to fill out and turn in to submit. When we get your application material back and it's all complete, then you'll be reviewed for admission, and you'll know within 2 weeks if you've been admitted into our program. What happens with financial aid and scholarship, that's another topic that I always get asked. And how it works is, once a student has been conditionally accepted into our program, then you can talk to financial aid about potential scholarship opportunities within the school. So you're not looked at. You have to go through the admissions process and be an accepted student before you can start working with financial aid. A couple of deadlines we have coming up is we do have a priority March 1st deadline for applications. If you get your application submitted and are accepted before March 1st, then you'll have about a month window where financial aid will start reviewing all of our new accepted students, and we'll know by April 1st what financial aid packet you've received. And that'll make it really easy for families to start preparing to get ready for the fall, because you'll know by April 1st what materials and finances and everything you need to know will be ready for you by the time that school gets out in May, so you can have the whole summer to prepare and turn around and be here on August 4th when school starts. We do have tours available Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. You would go online, or you can call our offices, and we'll set up a tour time with your family. We also have a couple open houses. We have 3 next spring, 1 in February, 1 in March, and 1 in April. So go online and check us out. And let's get back to answering some questions. Do you guys have any favorite spots or things to do on and off campus?
Definitely. My favorite thing to do on Monday night is go hang out with my football team, and we go to Farley's right across the street, and we eat 69-cent wings and stuff our faces, and then go hang out right after, and then make it back before a nice study hall. And that's definitely a good time. It's a good tradition that we started doing ever since the year started.
Most Wednesday nights, my friends and I go to Burger King because they give cadets free ice cream cones. So it's pretty great, and it's a really nice break from the week. Like in the middle of it, you're just like, it's almost over.
Besides all the military stuff, we also do have a lot of fun. I mean, when we come back for Cadre Week, a lot of us, like the junior college cadets and myself, we go to Bottomless Lakes here in town, and we just have a ball over there. Like, we'll have a cookout. one time I made ribs and stuff, and then we all went swimming in the lake, and it was really fun. I always have a ball when we do it. So there is definitely fun things to do around this area besides being on campus and doing mandatory fun activities.
Oh, sorry. No one mentioned Big D's.
Oh.
Best place, and the Mexican food is great here. So Jet, since you're an alum, how do you stay in touch with your fellow cadets?
Probably the biggest thing for me is I have like this group chat with my old roommates from my senior year. I also currently live with my roommate from my junior year here in Albuquerque, so I'm definitely close with a lot of the alumni. I see them all over campus. There's definitely a lot of people that go, that went to NMMI, that go to University of New Mexico, and they're all across the world. So along with that, I also have Facebook pages. We talk a lot, along with like Facebook chats, where we just talk about anything and everything that's happening in our lives. So it's not like once you graduate or leave that you just completely forget about your friends that you had at NMMI. You talk to them all the time, so it's pretty great.
So none of us are perfect. Do your grades ever start to slip? And how do you get back on track, you guys?
I'll talk about that one. So definitely when you have responsibilities, your attention usually veers in that direction. When you have a girlfriend, boyfriend, your attention definitely slips towards that direction too, especially when you're here. And you don't have your parents hovering over you to go do your homework. You just have a TLA who, they're not your parent, so they're not really going to have an impact on you. But once you get that F or that D, and you really need to go somewhere with your life, then you'll eventually get back on track. I know from myself, having a girlfriend is a little a challenge. But we definitely find our own way in our academics, and we get ourselves back on track because there's all these consequences, like a demotion, like tours and stuff like that. Not graduating, everyone gets scared about not graduating their senior year because we have all these assignments, and they all affect whether or not we graduate, especially in our English class with the capstone. It's a long essay, and that actually determines whether we graduate or not, and we come back. So we definitely set ourselves back on track with that. So, I mean, regardless of all the distractions and stuff, we always find a way to get ourselves back on track because the end is near, I guess you could say. I mean, it affects us.
And at NMMI, we have morning tutoring and we have night study hour where the teacher will be there for you to help you out with the academics. When I'm, like I said, I'm a foreign student, sometimes I don't know, I kind of don't get what they are teaching a little bit because it's kind of different. Whenever I know that I don't know what to do with that or I have no idea what they're doing, I always go to morning tutoring or I would find time at NSH to go and just ask them questions. And all the cadets are there to help you out. So there are a lot of ways that you can keep up with your work. I know it's tiring, like by the end of the day you're like, oh, I'm tired because of all these military routines, but it will be fine.
Can you explain what NHS is?
So NSH is Night Study Hall, and it's from 7 to 9:30 Monday through Thursday, well, Sunday through Thursday, every day, those days.
I have a question for you, Luke. Touching back on what you just said, one of the folks on Twitter wanted to know, how do you keep it all in balance?
Let's see. Well, to keep it on balance for me, I have a set goal. Where do I want to be at the end of the year? And that is, for me, graduating, of course, and I want to go back. Well, I want to come back here for the ECP and commission as a second lieutenant. So I figure out what I need to do. Okay, so I need to get my academics straight away. I need to get a 21, at least a 21 and a 1500 on my ACT and SAT. So I mean, I kind of just backtrack. So I find the goal, all right, and then I just work my way back and see what do I need to do in order to get to that goal. I mean, keeping it all in balance. I don't know. I mean, it just goes back to the goal. What do I want to do? Um, you kind of just have to take it one day at a time. I mean, take it one day at a time in order to get to that goal. There's not, I don't know if there's a correct answer to that, but for me, that's how I do it. I mean, it's totally different up to the person. The way we handle ourselves, I mean, our personalities are totally different. So the way you manage yourself is definitely different than how I do it. But I mean, for me, it's just goal orientation. That's about it.
Well, we're using a
Yeah.
lot of acronyms. You guys, can you explain, Luke, what ECP is?
Yeah, the ECP is called, well, its full title is the Early Commissioning Program. I think there's only about 3 to 5 junior colleges that actually do the ECP. And what it is a 2-year program of ROTC. You go in, you start the program off as an MS3, and you work your way up to an MS4 your following year. And after your year as an MS4, you become, or you commission as a second lieutenant in the Army, and then you continue on to a 4-year university for your last 2 years of college. And you have to get your bachelor's degree in any field you want. Okay, and then you also work with the unit in that area to get your full commission and actually make that transition into the Reserve, National Guard, or active duty, which is actually very challenging because it's based off of your academics and your standings in that 4-year university, I believe. So it's definitely the easier route. I mean, there's also the military colleges, which is actually very hard to get into. But for me, I actually wanted to go to West Point, but I found about the ECP, and I can do what the military colleges are doing in half the time. Plus, I have that extra experience being a high school student, so I actually have 6 years on top of their 4, or two more extra years on top of their 4 years at a military college. So it definitely works out in benefit for us if you come in as a freshman and go throughout those 6 years here.
So, Jet, I have a question for you from Twitter. What's the best lesson that you've learned from NMMI?
Best lesson. That's kind of a hard one. Probably to take everything with the grain of salt, maybe. It seems like as I worked my way up from my freshman to senior year, I learned a lot about how leadership works, how relationships work with people. Sometimes you're going to fail. Sometimes you're going to get stepped on, or something's going to happen that you don't like, and that's true about everything in life. But one thing that NMMI taught me is that you have to take it with a grain of salt, because everything's a lesson. So even if I got frustrated my senior year with some of the things that happened, I mean, I was the CSM, so I was in charge of practically the whole corps, and sometimes things don't go your way. But even if they don't go your way, you definitely have to take that as a lesson. So being a university student, it still happens. That's just part of life. So take everything with a grain of salt, because you'll learn a lesson from it eventually.
I just want to say, too, I've noticed the students that I work with coming in, I see them come in as freshmen and they're scared and nervous, and it's a quick turnaround. By Thanksgiving break, every mom and dad calls me and says, I can't believe that how grown up my child is and how they're able to do everything by themselves. I'm scared because they don't need me anymore because they're so efficient. They know how to do their own laundry. They know how to talk with their friends. They're just very independent, and I don't have to talk to them about doing their homework or anything like that. And that's what's great about this program, is that our students, as you can see, you guys come in, you're scared and nervous, and then you learn how to be an adult, and by the time you guys get to college. Jet, how do you feel right now? Were you better prepared?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I live in Roswell, and I know that it was kind of interesting how I chose to go to NMMI. It never really occurred to me throughout middle school that I was going to go there, but everything I've learned up until this point, those past 4 years, are irreplaceable. I never would have like chose to gone back and go to a different school, because the person I am today is because of a lot of the lessons that I learned at NMMI, and a lot of the friendships that I built. I'll have for the rest of my life. So I definitely want to go back.
So I just want to thank everybody for coming on tonight and for participating in this event, and for everybody that's out there in the audience, thank you for tuning in. You guys want to just wrap up and give a couple words of wisdom before we close tonight?
Well, I would say just stay motivated and optimistic, because this is what the main thing that keep up with your work no matter where you are. And yeah, that's my word.
I would recommend being open-minded to what other people have to say. Definitely leave your pride at home, because you will be yelled at by someone who's younger than you. So you got to learn how to take constructive criticism very well here.
I would just tell people to start practicing time management skills now.
Don't be afraid don't be scared because, like, oh, it's a military school, it's gonna be too hard for me. It's definitely not for everyone, but when you come here, you learn how valuable friendships are and time management, and you learn so many important lessons here that it's really worth coming.
My piece of advice is that if you choose to go to NMMI, which is probably going to be one of your best decisions, is to just have a good attitude about everything. I mean, sure, things won't go your way sometime, but that's how you build yourself as a person. So if you go in with a positive attitude, you'll get out a lot.
Well, great. Thank you guys for joining in tonight, and Jet for joining us as well. And everyone, all the families who watched us live, thank you for tuning in. We will have this recording available on replay on our website at www.nmmi.edu/hangouts. If you want to ask more about heading to NMMI, please follow us on social media. You can connect to all of our channels from our website at www.nmmi.edu. And you can also ask more questions at admissions@nmmi.edu. Thanks again for watching, and good night.